Dick Van Dyke, the legendary figure whose name evokes images of timeless charm, boundless energy, and an infectious laugh that has spanned generations, has always been more than just an entertainer. He is a testament to resilience, a living archive of Hollywood's golden eras, and now, on the cusp of his centennial year, he stands as an inspiring beacon for what it means to age with grace and humor. As he approaches December 13th, a date that will mark not just another year but a monumental achievement in human longevity and creative output, Van Dyke took a moment to peel back the layers of his extraordinary life. In a heartfelt exchange that captured the essence of his unpretentious spirit, he delved into the shadows that once loomed large over his path, the struggles that tested his mettle long before the spotlight ever fully embraced him. Picture a young Dick Van Dyke, not the polished star of Mary Poppins, or the beloved host of the Dick Van Dyke Show, but a scrappy kid from West Plains, Missouri, born into a world where dreams were often deferred by the harsh realities of economic hardship. The Great Depression had cast its long shadow over America, and for the Van Dyke family, it meant scraping by with little more than determination and ingenuity. Money was not just scarce, it was a phantom, something whispered about in hushed tones around the dinner table, always just out of reach. From those early days, Van Dyke learned the value of hustle, the kind that doesn't come from privilege but from necessity. He spoke of starting out in a family where financial stability was a luxury, not a given. The drive to build something solid, a home, a future, a legacy, became the undercurrent of his every endeavor. It was this foundational grit that propelled him forward, turning what could have been paralyzing poverty into fuel for an unyielding ambition. As Van Dyke recounted his journey, he painted vivid pictures of those formative years, where survival intertwined with show business in ways that would shape his career irrevocably. After serving in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II, he returned home with a veteran's resolve and a GI Bill that promised opportunity to those who seized it. That bill became his lifeline, enabling him to purchase his first home, a modest sanctuary that symbolized more than bricks and mortar. It was a declaration of independence from the cycles of want that had defined his youth. Yet, acquiring that home was no small feat. It required navigating a labyrinth of odd jobs and relentless performances, each one a stepping stone across a river of uncertainty. Van Dyke didn't mince words about the grind. Game shows that demanded quick wit under pressure, nightclub gigs that stretched into the wee hours, and even a stint as a disc jockey at the ungodly hour of 5 a.m. These weren't glamorous interludes, they were the raw, unfiltered battles of a man clawing his way up. Imagine the exhaustion, the kind that seeps into your bones and blurs the edges of reality. Van Dyke described a typical day, or rather, a blur of days, where sleep was a fleeting visitor, granting him only 3 or 4 hours before the cycle began anew. Mornings bled into mornings as he spun records for bleary-eyed listeners, his voice a steady companion in the dawn's quiet desperation. By night, he traded the microphone for the stage, partnering with a fellow performer in smoke-filled clubs where laughter was currency and vulnerability a risk not worth taking. It was a double life of sorts, one foot in the ethereal world of entertainment and the other planted firmly in the soil of survival. He quipped about it with his signature self-deprecating humor, acknowledging the absurdity of it all, the way he'd juggle exhaustion like a vaudeville prop, always one slip away from dropping it all. But beneath the levity lay a profound truth. This was the forge where his character was tempered. Every late-night punchline, every early morning broadcast, hammered home the lesson that perseverance isn't glamorous. It's grimy, it's relentless, and it's the only path forward when the alternatives are surrender or stagnation. Van Dyke's reflections didn't shy away from the personal toll of this ascent. As he built his career brick by comedic brick, his family, his wife Margie Willett and their 4 children, became both anchor and afterthought in the storm of ambition. Margie, the woman who had stood by him through the leanest times, deserved a partner fully present, yet the demands of his burgeoning fame often pulled him away. He admitted, with a touch of regret softened by time's perspective, that his children might have felt the sting of neglect during those feverish years. The drive to escape poverty's grip was all-consuming, a beast that left little room for bedtime stories or leisurely Sundays. Van Dyke worked not just for himself but for them, envisioning a life where financial worry was a relic of the past. Yet, in hindsight, he pondered the invisible costs, the missed milestones, the quiet moments stolen by spotlights elsewhere. It was a confession laced with vulnerability, a rare glimpse into the man behind the mirth, who wondered if his sacrifices had echoes that lingered in his family's hearts. Remarkably, Van Dyke reported no lingering resentments from those he held dear. His children, now adults with lives of their own, have embraced the narrative of their father's journey with understanding rather than bitterness. This revelation speaks volumes about the bonds they forged, resilient enough to weather the tempests of his early career. It also underscores Van Dyke's philosophy: life's hardships, when met with honesty and effort, can forge connections that time only strengthens. As he approaches his 100th birthday, this reflection serves as a bridge between past and present, reminding us that even icons are human, shaped by the same frailties we all navigate. Turning the page to brighter chapters, Van Dyke's career trajectory is a masterclass in reinvention and serendipity. From the Broadway triumph of Bye Bye Birdie, where his lanky frame and rubbery expressions captivated audiences, to the small-screen alchemy of The Dick Van Dyke Show, which redefined sitcom sophistication, he became synonymous with joy. Films like Mary Poppins immortalized him as Bert the Chimney Sweep, a role that blended song, dance and whimsy into something eternally enchanting. Yet, for all the accolades, the Emmys, the Golden Globes, the Screen Actors Guild Lifetime Achievement Award, Van Dyke never lost sight of the kid who once pantomimed for pennies on the street. His recent projects, including voice cameos in Night at the Museum and poignant turns in modern series, prove that age is merely a number when paired with unquenchable curiosity.